The initial draft of this script, written when Joan Crawford and Kirk Douglas were attached, was by Jay Draitler, who'd done the screenplays for such terrific films as Laura, The Dark Corner, and Call Northside 777. When the project was taken over by Hunt Stromberg, however, Roy Huggins asked to rewrite it, feeling that Draitler's adaptation missed the mark. Well, in the end, Huggins was still disappointed, complaining that Byron Haskins' direction was too static and that the film lacked the Los Angeles flavor that was a big part of his novel. Now, eventually, Roy Huggins would have the power to make such production decisions for himself, because starting in the mid-50s, he became one of the most prolific and successful independent producers in television, creating, producing, and writing many hugely popular series, including Maverick, 77 Sunset Strip, The Fugitive, Run for Your Life, The Bold Ones, Beretta, and The Rockford Files. Now, this was an extraordinary turnaround for a man who was a card-carrying communist in his younger days. Huggins recanted his party affiliation in testimony before HUAC in 1952. And soon after, he switched his ambition from movies to television, where the blacklist had less of an impact. He was, in addition, the mentor of Stephen J. Cannell, who'd follow in Huggins' footsteps as writer-producer of numerous hit TV shows. Now, despite being released at the peak of the film noir movement, and despite starring two of noir's most familiar faces, Too Late for Tears tanked at the box office. Hunt Stromberg's magic touch, which had produced classics like The Thin Man, The Women, and Pride and Prejudice, had all but evaporated. He'd make only two more films before retiring from a career that dated all the way back to 1921. Now, a few years later, looking to recoup some of his losses, Stromberg sold Too Late for Tears to Astor Pictures Corporation, which re-released it under the title Killer Bait. Once Astor went belly up, Too Late for Tears became an orphaned film, unprotected by any studio archive and at risk of disappearing completely from screens both big and small. After many years of searching, the Film Noir Foundation, thanks largely to our colleagues at the UCLA Film and Television Archive, located a couple of decent 35mm copies and a good-looking 16 print. One of the 35s was discovered in France, where the film was released under the title La Tigresse. I'm telling you, this film went through more titles than Mickey Rooney went through wives. With just enough elements in hand, a painstaking and complicated restoration began. Now, restoring a film entails creating a new negative, and ensuring the best possible image quality for that negative meant choosing the best pieces from each of the three sources. Some scenes were actually rebuilt, using pieces from different prints, shot by shot within a single scene. The most complicated part of the process, however, was recreating the titles. The best 35mm print was missing the opening, and the other two prints both had the reissue title, Killer Bait. Well, we were adamant about restoring the movie under its original title, and that meant not only digitally recreating the titles, but snatching frames in between the titles to recreate the action beneath the credits, animating the roadster cruising along Mulholland Drive, as well as the twinkling lights of Los Angeles in the distance. A cinch in the modern age of CGI, right? Well, not when the digital work needs to perfectly match imagery reproduced photochemically. Now, another bit of magic involved recreating the iconic final frame of the film, Jane's lifeless fingers clutching her beloved and now bloody bills. This image had disappeared from all versions of the film that over the years had turned up as shoddy public domain videos. So, a big tip of the Noir Alley fedora to UCLA's head of preservation, Scott McQueen, who oversaw the cobbling together of Too Late for Tears' surviving bits and pieces to produce the seamless and revitalized version we have now preserved for posterity, whether Liz Scott likes it or not. Okay, we're going to try something new in honor of today's film. I know there are a lot of cocktail aficionados out there, so I want you master mixologists to post on our Noir Alley Facebook page or Twitter feed an original recipe for a too late for tears cocktail. And please resist the urge to substitute cyanide for bitters. I'm thinking we could even do a non-alcoholic version called simply a Jane Palmer. Now, I'll sort through your formulas and build the best ones over here at the bar. I'll judge the most luscious libation, and a suitable prize will be bestowed. And the contest will remain open until we have a winner, or I am no longer able to function as your host, whichever comes first. As for what's coming next on Noir Alley, we'll be heading out of Los Angeles and into the orange groves of the Central Valley for, no, not Chinatown, but a simple tale of a boy and his dog, film noir style, circa 1952. It'll be Talk About a Stranger. Until then, don't ever change, Tiger. I don't think I'd like you with a heart.